Greatly welcome that you facilitated me here today, that I'm not a member of the Finance Committee. So just from my outset, I'm Tom Neville from Limerick County. So I've had a number of patronage shareholders onto me, along with Deputy O'Donnell in Limerick, and obviously Kerry being a bordering constituency as well, there will be overlap there. I'm here to articulate the concerns as well of the farmers on the ground in rural Ireland that have been hit out of the blue with major tax bills, and from their understanding, it's revenue looking for money and looking for tax straight away. These big bills, and you're talking about bills the size of an average industrial wage here, and farmers have been hit very, very hard, extremely hard, with the price of milk, particularly in my area of my constituency, since I've been elected, and before. So for this to come before Christmas is out of the blue, and it's causing panic within the agricultural circles. And to be honest with you, it psychologically is a negative towards farmers who are trying to pursue a career in such very, very difficult circumstances. So the style of communication and the way it has been delivered is a problem out there, and that is a problem that's coming from the ground. We see it with financial institutions when they happen with loans they're trying to call in. It's style of communication, it's how it's articulated, it's how it's delivered on the letter, as Senator O'Donnell said in relation to fair play. That's the first point on it. Secondly, the perception out there is the big bills are there, we're going to be hit with it straight away. How are we going to keep our farms going? How are we going to keep our farms alive, given what we've gone through over the last 12 months? And the knock-on effect in is for rural Ireland. How do you keep rural Ireland alive if agriculture, because that is the backbone of rural Ireland. That's what sustains it. That's what maintains it. That's what we're trying to deliver. That's what we're trying to give to progress it. And if particularly younger farmers are hit with that, it's another psychological blow for them when they're trying to progress this, and we're trying to get more people back into the profession. But I want to follow on the technical side from what Senator O'Donnell was asking. Just to clarify, 60, you said that 60 days would be allowed under the aspect query if a farmer writes in looking for it. That's my understanding. But you mentioned, and forgive me, I'm not a tax consultant, or I'm not an accountant, okay? But you said that you were unable, the assessment side was unable to be left while this was going on because they're a separate entity, or they have a separate decision-making powers. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
Completely independent revenue commissioners, the TSC.
Right. Okay. Well, Chairman, I'd make a proposal today that if that's the case, that we can't get an answer in relation to that, or get a straight answer in relation to that, and that's not no disrespect to yourself because you can't answer that they should be in here as well as revenue to be able to answer those questions, because we have questions here that are coming to two different bodies which are joined up type questions that we need answers to straight away. So in the interest of clarity, that's something I would propose. I understand that the committee may want to discuss that, but given the fact that we can't get a straight answer on that today from those, I would propose that we would have any stakeholders that are involved in this, that need to answer questions to the public, that they would sit together so that we, as the elected representatives, when we do pose the questions, they can be answered correctly by whatever body is here that has answered that. Because there's a number of questions that have been posed today that obviously need to be answered by other separate bodies, as you have suggested. So that's the other suggestion on it. You mentioned that you came across this 18 months ago. Can I ask, why wasn't something communicated to the farming organisations or communicated out to the public in relation to this, that this may be coming down the tracks? I do understand that you did say, look, we can't communicate this until we see something in black and white. But obviously, given your experience and given your background in relation to these issues, you saw this coming down the tracks 18 months ago. Why was there not any communication or anything, to say to farmers or say to farming organisations, this may be an issue that's coming down the tracks, etc., etc.? How do the revenue propose that co-ops now ensure that active farmers stay in relation to co-op shares? I mean, the basis of this was to keep active farmers involved in co-ops and keep them alive, because if the tax bill is imposed in all circumstances here to the patronage shares, it means that these farmers can't stay with these co-ops. The active farmers can't stay in these co-ops. And in relation, going back to what Senator O'Donnell is, in relation to penalties, will the penalties be imposed, and if so, how? What's the calculation in relation to that? Because again, from speaking to the farmers, it's the tax bill, it's the penalties, it's the time, it's like what's coming down the tracks, what's next. Because as was articulated earlier on, these farmers actually, we're doing the right thing, we're declaring, we're giving it to people, we're being upfront, we're trying to pay our taxes, we're trying to do the best we can and keep a business alive that's under pressure. So I'd be grateful for those answers. Thank you.
Mr. Phelan, would you like to come?
Okay, I'll try and do it again in the same way. I think, first of all, about a straight answer in regards to the Tax Appeals Commission. As I said, it's an independent body, but I do know for definite that they will need an assessment before we can have an appeal. So if they want a group of assessments to do a test case, we will facilitate that in as much as we possibly can by getting it to that stage. I think there are two real issues in the entire thing. One is the issue about the technical piece, if revenue are right or revenue are wrong. We do not take this decision lightly to treat this the shares purchased at a discount as a tax break, and we do not treat that lightly. We think it is absolutely correct that this should be added to your trading and profit and loss account, the difference in the value. We're quite certain that we're right. But in the event that we're wrong, the only way of getting that around a different opinion is through the Tax Appeals Commission. So the second issue that you raise is in relation to the difficulties that farmers are in and a difficult year. We ourselves published our results in the farming sector, and we're quite well aware of the trends in farming. This is quite a good document is on the website about where farming is in the structure in Ireland. So we're well aware of it. Our Collector General's office, every day of the week for businesses, particularly during the recession, they've got very, very good at making arrangements, phased payment arrangements, over a number of years and over a number of months. Whatever people want, we can do that. So if we get over the technical piece, which I agree may require a test case, now I have to say that we have some agents who agree with our position and are considering making voluntary disclosures and paying the amount of tax that's due, albeit that if there is a test case taken, they want the same treatment as would result from the test case. And we can guarantee that that will happen for those people who engage and get rid of this matter. And we will certainly arrange the phased payment but if we get over a technical matter, the difficulties with payment is not a problem for us to make long arrangements. As regards the interest and penalty, as I said earlier, the interest is statutory. A penalty doesn't arise in many cases, and our approach to this has been to minimise the penalties because the letters went out as aspect queries. We didn't try and audit it. We tried to keep the penalty to the cheapest possible option under the Code of Practice. Again, it's administratively easier for us to do bulk inquiries under the aspect query regime, but it also is very cost effective for everybody concerned, and it really does eliminate or minimise the penalties in many cases.
Deputy Moynihan.